Number 7.
Listen, the smart bet, take the Houston Texans to win their division again. They added David Montgomery, the running back. I think that is a sneaky addition. So David Montgomery and Woody Marks, that is a above average running back tandem, and they couldn't produce consistent run totals last year. Yeah, it's worrisome that CJ Stroud has regressed, but they're still winning their division. AFC South, they're favored to win it for a fourth year. They won 12 games last year. I think they'll be around that this coming year.
No.
The foundational issue for the Houston Texans starts up front. Their offensive line simply hasn't been adequate. You can acquire every talented running back available, but without proper blocking, the results will never materialize consistently. Saquon Barkley has provided the definitive case study here. When you pair someone with his capabilities with a dominant offensive line, the results are spectacular. When the line falls short, even the most brilliant running back cannot replicate that production. The difference is stark and undeniable. The same principle applies to quarterback performance. We have countless examples demonstrating this reality. CJ Stroud absolutely needs to elevate his game, and he specifically needs to develop better game management instincts. His performance in the playoffs when circumstances became chaotic and unpredictable was genuinely poor. He handled those situations terribly. That's what game management means. When things go wrong, when the plan falls apart, Stroud made everything worse. Regardless of how badly the line performed, regardless of receiver struggles or running game inefficiency, he exacerbated problems rather than containing them. Sometimes you need a quarterback who can overcome adversity through spectacular individual performance. Other times, you need someone who simply minimizes damage. Often, minimizing damage simply means competent game management, not making things worse. This was something Tom Brady excelled at, something Bill Belichick emphasized repeatedly. Brady never made situations worse. Sometimes making things better means accepting a 2-yard gain, a check down for a quick completion and tackle. It doesn't always require forcing something spectacular. Many quarterbacks struggle to accept this reality, even guys I have enormous respect for, like Josh Allen. Yet backup quarterbacks often excel at this approach, which we witnessed with the Texans when Stroud was concussed. Sometimes you need to learn from that example. The Houston defense should remain elite. If you improve the offensive line quality, the running game automatically improves. That's basic addition. That stability should also benefit Stroud. But I want to see Stroud evolve specifically in game management. This is where my perspective gets interesting because I remain a huge believer in CJ Stroud. I've said this countless times. I'm not abandoning that belief now. But I would be genuinely more impressed and more excited to see Stroud manage games better than to witness more spectacular highlights reminiscent of his rookie season. I want to see evidence that he's getting it, that he understands how to elevate his floor, rather than constantly chasing ceiling. That matters more to me right now for Stroud and this offense. It always matters, but it matters especially when you have an elite defense. Sam Darnold didn't show his ceiling in the Super Bowl. He showed his ceiling in the NFC Championship game. In the Super Bowl against New England, the same team the Texans faced, he didn't display his ceiling at all. But he demonstrated an elevated floor, and that directly produced a Super Bowl victory. If CJ Stroud had an elevated floor rather than just chasing ceiling flashes, there's a compelling argument that the Texans beat New England. And if they win that game, who knows what happens next? You're facing Jared Stidham, perhaps. The butterfly effect ripples outward. Maybe Bo Nix sees something that influences his positioning and avoids that ankle injury. Multiverse stuff, certainly, but the serious point stands. Trajectory changes when the floor rises. If the floor elevates, the Texans find themselves in a significantly different situation. So when people discuss regression or question Stroud's development, my response centers on floor elevation. This connects to how I viewed Jim Harbaugh's hiring by the New York Giants. My immediate reaction was that this represents a stabilizing move. It's good, it's successful, but it's not the move that ushers in immediate Super Bowl contention. It raises the floor. You're no longer a laughingstock, no longer oscillating between playoff contention and drafting first overall. And in some ways, that's sufficient. But with a rookie quarterback on a cost-controlled contract, with all that energy and hype, I want to see what a coach can do to raise the ceiling. I'm more interested in Super Bowl potential than simply being a tough out. For the Texans specifically, given how special and elite that defense is with DeMeco Ryans coaching, just elevate the floor. Do that, and you're an elite Super Bowl contender. You're right there. You don't need ceiling elevation, though that's always welcome. Think about when they turned things around last season and built momentum. That wasn't about reaching their ceiling. It was about floor elevation. That's all that mattered in that moment. That's how I'll evaluate the Texans and Stroud going forward. Can you just raise the floor? You can get lost in discussions about regression or comparisons to other quarterbacks. I don't need Stroud on highlight reels. I don't need MVP conversations. I don't need debates about who you'd rather have. Just elevate your floor. If you do that, you have an elite top team, regardless of offensive line issues, inconsistent running game, or other concerns. The Texans have been somewhat frustrating over these past couple years because I know the potential exists. 2 years ago, they dealt with significant injuries, but the potential is clearly there, and they just can't seem to bring it all home. It reminds me of those Mike McCarthy Cowboys teams with all those 12-win seasons. Pretty good, not bad, but just couldn't make that one extra move to finally get over the hump. The right coach, the right free agent addition. There was an opportunity for Dallas to acquire Derrick Henry in either 2022 or 2023 that could have fundamentally changed everything. We've seen what Henry has done recently. That one move could have altered the entire Cowboys' trajectory. I'm not saying there's a specific concrete move the Texans are missing, but they feel one click away from bringing it all home. Maybe it's offensive line improvement. Maybe it's Stroud's development. Maybe it's just quarterback play generally. I don't know. That uncertainty creates frustration. That's why my message is simply raise the floor. Everyone always talks about raising the roof. Just raise the floor and you're good to go. I'm curious how you all feel about the Texans at this moment. Share your thoughts in the comments. I read every single response, whether agreement or disagreement drives your perspective. Let's generate meaningful discussion, maybe some healthy debate, but ultimately, keep it enjoyable. Please consider subscribing if you appreciate this content. We're building a community that I hope feels genuinely connected and invested. Your participation matters enormously. Remember to like this video as it supports visibility and algorithmic reach. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next discussion.